Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the Jon Gaunt podcast. Broken Britain is finished unless we do the following. I'll tell you what needs to happen in this country. I cannot believe what is occurring, and I need your views as well. I've had a week on my sick bed, as you know, terrible with a cold. I don't know if it's flu. It's definitely man flu. But I've been on my sick bed. But you know what's happened? I've been listening to the news, watching the news, reading the news. And because I haven't really been able to answer, apart from occasionally on X, it's made me realise just what a terrible position this country is in. So today, I'm going to talk about the guy who went on the run. Well, he didn't really. He didn't want to leave prison, did he? How did he get let out? And how have we got a clown like Lammy in charge of that now? Thank goodness he's back inside. But there's a lot of questions. I want to talk about Wes Streeting, the health minister. He was on the telly this morning having a bit of a tantrum about that stupid Sarah from Reform who said something that was clearly racist, but mostly just stupid about black actors in adverts. She's apologised, but what's happened today is the political class have now used that to divert attention away. I'll tell you what the real racism is in this country is the industrial scale of rape of white girls by Muslim Pakistani rape gangs. Oh, but there's a surprise. Starmer can't get anyone to work on that, can he? What is going on? Where's the priorities of this useless government? But not just this government, the whole political class. There's more comments on X and on Facebook at the moment about whether that Sarah was racist or not, about what she said about adverts, which of course she was, but then about the fact that we haven't got this rape gang inquiry chairperson in place, or that we've got a man who shouldn't have even been in the country, who committed a sexual offence against a 14-year-old, has been on the run for the last 3 days. It's a complete and utter farce. Why isn't anyone talking about those Muslims in Whitechapel yesterday? Why were they allowed to be all masked up and shouting filth on the streets of London? I thought that was going to be banned. No one should be wearing masks or scarves on a protest. I agree with protest. I agree with demos, but I want equal treatment for all. Are you with me or against me? And then, where is Starmer? He came out in the week, didn't he, and said he was committed to protecting Muslims again, gave them another £10 million of all of our money, but he still not answered the questions about the Villa and the Israel game. He still hasn't answered questions about why he appointed the nonce's chum Mandelson to be our ambassador in Washington. And then on the other side, Chris Felt today, when they asked him on telly, well, was it racist, what the woman said, he wouldn't give a straight answer. He took 6 times to actually get an answer out of him on different programs. This is just stupid. And then we've had that dreadful murder in Walsall with a screwdriver, another illegal immigrant, another flip-flop warrior. Have we tightened up borders? No. Are we deporting people? No. Even when somebody's meant to be deported, he gets let out of prison and goes on the run. He even goes back to the prison and says, I don't think I should be out here. He's obviously confused. What do? We send him on his way. But don't worry, David Lammy is in charge of the investigation. The whole thing makes me effing sick. What about you? Now today, as you can tell, my throat's not quite back together. It's as good as it'll be. So join in and help me out. The more contributions we get from you, the easier it makes the show. When I say contributions, I don't mean donations. I mean your comments. So they're starting to come in now. But let's have some more, and then we'll get the debate going. I'm saying Broken Britain is finished. We're nearly on the verge of the end of Great Britain. And it's not just Keir Starmer. It's the whole political establishment have let us down. Let's first of all start off with Hadush Kibutu, the man who's been on the run for the last few days. I don't think he has been. I think he's been wanting to be found, hasn't he? He entered Britain illegally. He's a flip-flop warrior. Within 8 days of entering our great country, he committed the sex offences. Let's now realise what they were. It was against a 14-year-old girl. It was the offences that started off all the protests at the Bell Hotel in Epping, which, as you know, then spread right across the country, which at first Keir Starmer and the establishment tried to write off as far right. Well, they would, wouldn't they? Until they realised it wasn't really far right at all, was it? This was mums, grandmothers, grandchildren, sisters, daughters, worried about the safety of their children. They hadn't been listened to when they said, look, some of these people are indecently exposing themselves to our girls on the way home from school. Then they wanted it closed down. Starmer, let's just remember what happened, and the then Home Secretary, about as much use as a chocolate fireguard, Yvette Cooper, used your money, your tax money, to overturn the court decision to close it down on a planning issue. They sided with foreigners. I'm not making it up. They decided that the priority was people who had only just entered our country, that they were more important than the settled community. Now, I believe in equal rights for all. No matter how long you've been a British citizen, you should have equal rights. But two things. One, these people, the flip-flop warriors, have only just got here. They've not contributed anything, and they're illegal. They haven't come in any way in a legal manner. And secondly, how can you say that their rights come before a 14-year-old girl getting sexually assaulted? There is no way that these people should have ever been in hotels. They should never be in homes of multiple occupation. I'll go further. They shouldn't be in our bloody country. But what does Starmer do about this? Sweet F.A. He uses your tax dollars, your money, to make them be able to stay. We've had more people coming this way into the country now than in the whole of the last 12 months, last year. And then he wrings his hands and says, yes, we're going to deport. And like this guy today, Starmer's saying, don't worry, we're going to deport him. He doesn't say when, because you watch, there'll now be an appeal because he shouldn't have been let out of prison. And the thing I can't get my head around, if I was the Home Secretary or I was in charge of prisons, so if I was either, Mahmood or indeed Lammy, I would have made sure the governor of that nick knew exactly, do not cock this one up, lads. See, what I loved about it, when it came out that he had been let out by the prison authorities and had actually wanted to go back in and said, why are you doing this? Oh, and don't forget, they gave him money so he could get a train ticket. They lessened this in the mass media by saying, oh, did you know lots of this happens? Well, that's not an excuse, is it? None of it should happen. But it certainly shouldn't happen with an illegal immigrant who has committed an offence against a 14-year-old girl. What would Starmer say if it was his daughter or his son that this had happened to? The guy is a feeble excuse for a man. It's an absolute disgrace. Then he goes on the run, and the Keystone Cops take 3 days to find him. No, he wasn't on the run. He wants to be deported to Ethiopia. This has made us the laughing stock of the world. Now, did our supreme leader, maybe I missed it because I have been very poorly, did our supreme leader go on primetime telly and address the nation and say, don't worry, we've got this under control? Did he, buggery? No, he didn't. He just keeps hiding in his bunker in number 10. I think it's absolutely outrageous, don't you? If you want to make a comment, just feel free. Just put one at the bottom of the comment sheet here on YouTube, and I will read them out as the show goes on. So let's just carry on with this man for a moment. So, in the same week that he's let out of prison accidentally, and do you believe that? Because I don't think I do. Did he then tighten up defences on the border? No. In fact, more than ever have got in this week and last week. What is it with him? Why can't he see he could solve that problem? If this man had never been in the country, he couldn't have committed the crime against a 14-year-old girl, could he? And likewise, as I say, in the same week, we've got the conviction of the man who followed home a restaurant worker at the hotel he was staying in, paid for by, excuse me, who was staying in a hotel in Warsaw, followed her home to the hotel, from the hotel to the train station, and then murdered her by stabbing her in the heart and the head with a screwdriver. Then went back to the hotel after getting himself a couple of cans of strong lager and was dancing and celebrating when the police arrested him. He hasn't got it. He's been sentenced. He's guilty, but they haven't said what his sentence will be yet. Do you know why? Because they don't know how old he is. They don't know for sure who he is. Does this not remind you of when I've been saying for months and months, Starmer, you don't even know who's in the fucking boats, let alone what they've done, let alone what their criminal record is. You are playing a Russian roulette with our girls, our daughters, our mums, our sisters, and you don't seem to care. It's just like, oh, well, that's just another statistic. Well, when are we, the British people, going to say enough is enough? So all of these things going through my head this week, and I'd love to know what you think. And then yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. But those Muslim yobs in Whitechapel, UKIP weren't allowed to protest there. They had to go somewhere else. I've got no time for UKIP either. Don't know what the hell they're on at the moment. But there's all these guys with balaclavas on, and there's some nutcase winding them up. Do they get arrested? No. What is happening? Britain is going to hell in a handcart, and the political elite don't give a shit. Tell me I'm right or tell me I'm wrong. I just think the whole thing is just beyond the pale. And I do apologise for my voice. I have been very poorly with man flu or cold, as a lady would call it. But I'm here now. So I just wanted to express some of these views and see what you thought. I'm sorry if you've missed me all week. I've missed doing it, to be honest with you. But let's have a wide-ranging discussion about this, because I'm not sure how much longer all of this can go on. And then they're always looking to change the agenda. So earlier this week it was, oh, well, he's not the only one who's been released early. There's been mistakes before. That doesn't justify it. Like today, we've had the Muslim nutcases in London. We've had the killing, the vicious killing of this lady in Warsaw, and not being able to sentence him because we don't know how old he is or where he's from. So we're waiting for reports on that. And then we've had the sex offender who allegedly has been on the run, although he wanted to go back inside. PC Plod has arrested him. It doesn't sound as if it was going to be that difficult. He didn't want to be out. Is there something that unites all this? Oh, yeah, that's what it is. None of them should be in our bloody country. If tomorrow we ripped up the ECHR, if we put the troops, the army on the beach at Dover, the Navy in the Channel, if we closed all the hotels down within a week, which we could easily do, and put every single person before their flip-flop hits the sand, we tell them quite clearly, you're going into this ex-military establishment. You will not be going for walkies in town. You'll be not walking across car parks following women home with a screwdriver in your hand, because you will be locked behind secure fences. Not quite a prison, but locked up till we know who you are. Don't like that? Well, don't worry. We'll send you to Ascension Island until we work out who you are. Well, you got no passport? Oh, dear. Never mind. You're going offshore to be processed. Oh, you do know who you are. You do know where you're from. Fine. You're back to Albania or wherever other God-forsaken shithole you come from. You've just got to get tough. And I'm not just having a go at Starmer, because Labour was just as bad. Some would say worse. Not Labour. See, you mix them up. They're all the same. The Conservatives were just as bad for 14 miserable years, particularly Boris Johnson. We've got to stop worrying about being called a waifith and actually handle it. And do you know what, Starmer? You're the Prime Minister. So why don't you grow a pair and get on with doing that? Because there are people today who would not have been sexually assaulted, would not have been stabbed in the heart and the head with a screwdriver if these monsters hadn't been let in. Now, I'm not saying that everybody in those dinghies is a violent criminal. I'm not even saying they are a criminal. Well, they are a criminal because they've got into the country unlawfully. But I'm not saying they're all monsters. They're not. However, we can't carry on the way we are. It's unsustainable. If Poland can get on top of this, Australia, the United States of America, even Germany are now getting tough. Austria as well. Why can't we? I'll tell you why. Because the bleeding heart liberals, whoever you vote for, it's the bleeding heart liberals who are in charge of this country. Do you agree with me? Meanwhile, thousands of white girls have been and continue to be raped and sexually assaulted by gangs of men, primarily of a Pakistani Muslim heritage, and we can't get someone to chair the inquiry. Jess Phillips, she's got to go, so he's got a clean slate. But again, Starmer doesn't act, does he? He just sits there mumbling and worried, because he's still in hiding. He's more worried about his own survival than the survival and the health of women and girls of this country. And as I say, he's still got questions to answer about the Israel Villa match. He's got questions to answer on Mandelson. How much longer can this go on? And then today of all days, when we've had a dangerous man, convicted sex offender, Hadush Kabuta, on the run, all the mainstream media and the political class want to discuss is whether silly Sarah has been racist or not. I'm putting my cards on the table. I think black and Asian actors are overrepresented in adverts, but it doesn't offend me, which is what she said. I don't even notice it after a while because it's just like de rigueur, isn't it? But that isn't the main debate today. Well, it is, unfortunately, because that's the way the media works. It should have been today about the fact we haven't got a chairman or chairwoman. Should I be careful, John? chairwoman for this inquiry into the mass rape of white girls, I mean, mainly white girls, in this country. Or that we had a sex offender on the run, let out by our prison services, and Starmer hasn't even addressed the public. How much longer can this go on? I really want to have your views. I think the country's going to blow up if we're not careful. Joanne in Kempton, 6691, she's just donated a super sticker on YouTube. Thank you. I haven't even asked for that yet, but that's very, very kind of you. I'll buy some lozenges maybe. Thank you, Joanna. If you'd like to donate, feel free. Just click the little $sign, or indeed go to www.buymeacoffee.com. I don't know how many people we're going to have watching today. The more the merrier. Start spreading the word I'm on. This is the first show I've done in 6 or 7 days. So it'd be good to have a lot of people. So for my confidence, you know me, I don't want to lose my confidence, do I? But I tell you what, honestly, lying in bed watching all this week, and then you see how the media, particularly the BBC, work with the political class. Right? They don't discern between Conservative and Labour. I love that when people go, oh, they're Labour biased, they're Tory biased. They're not. They're establishment biased. That's what they are. So they'll give the debate that they want. So now we're going to have weeks of hand-wringing about whether what she said was racist. Let's just put it to bed. Yes, it was. She's a stupid cow. Oh, I shouldn't say that. She shouldn't have said it. But she's an irrelevance. Let's move on. Let's talk about the real racism. Let's talk about those Muslims on the street. Let's talk about what's happened at the villa. Let's talk about our girls. Let's talk about the lady in Warsaw who got stabbed in the heart and in the head just because, I don't know why, because a maniac was let in. Let's ask Starmer how he's going to find out who exactly are in the dinghies. Let's have a proper debate about the future of our country. Because if we don't, other people will. And I tell you, it's going to get nasty. Did you see those guys? They were like a militia. And remember this. Everybody who's coming in the flip-flops and the designer tracksuits, they're mainly men, young men of fighting age. And our governments don't even know who they are. They don't even know who they are. So wouldn't it be better? Secure the borders. Anybody else now who does turn up going into secure accommodation, immediately chucked back out of the country. And don't give me this bullshit that I heard somebody, it was one of the programs this morning saying, you know as well as they talk in this cuddly, cozy way, don't they? One of the commentators said to one of the politicians, he was interviewing Zia, whatever his name is, from Reform. It was a good interview. I know that. What's his name? Off GB News. Anyway, him. And he said, oh, yeah, but you know it'll take a long time. Do you know why Reform are doing well in the polls? Because people are fed up of this bullshit. All it needs is will, the political will. Donald Trump has proved it in America. When Reform get into power, if they're as good as they say they're going to be, then we can change things. Starmer could change things overnight. That's what happened in Australia. That's what happened in the States. You've just got to have the political will. But do you know what? I think Starmer still thinks he's looking after the refugees. They aren't refugees. They're economic migrants. And some of them are dangerous criminals. Cliff Dixon, the government should get Maggie Oliver to chair the rape gang inquiry, but they've sidelined her as she would take no nonsense and get to the truth. I'm a great fan of Maggie Oliver, Cliff, but I think you're wrong. The problem is if you got her, and I think she would do a good job, it would always be, oh, yeah, but you're on the sides of the girl, da-da-da-da-da. It needs to be judge-led. It needs to be a proper public inquiry. Don't let them off with anything else. It's a bit like the way now they want to get the debate onto, is it racist to say there's too many black people in adverts? I don't really give a shit How many there are? It's trivial bullshit. Just like I don't care who's taken over from Claudia Winkleman. I don't care. I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose my voice first, probably. Annie Morris, well said. And there's a load of Union Jacks. Thank you very much indeed. If you're listening and you're not watching on TV, don't forget you can always catch me. Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube is my channel. Please subscribe. This week's been terrible because the subscriptions have gone down because I've not been around to remind you. So don't forget, if you want to subscribe, when you first go to Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube, it'll say, do you want to subscribe, right? Don't let the word subscribe put you off. It would put me off, I think, but don't. It doesn't mean you've got to pay anything. It's completely free to subscribe. And then all that means is you get access to all the archive and you get told every time I'm making a new show. It's useful to know. And it helps me because the more subscribers I get, the better the algorithm helps me. Therefore, it becomes even more popular. So if you could do that, that's the first thing. If you'd like to donate some money to keep these things going, and that's dropped off a cliff. If you see me on Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll be outside Boots selling the big issue. So if you could help me out with a fiver or something like that, please go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt, or alternatively, please donate here by clicking the little $sign. Denise Deacon, she says, Sarah Poachin, is that how you say her name, is saying out loud what most people have been saying the last few years. If you believe the advertising business would all either be gay, in a mixed race relationship, or an ethnic minority, I'm not against representation, but how about representing white heterosexual people? Yes, Denise, but, and I agree with a lot of what you just said there, but Denise, it's the way she said it. It was a racist statement. She said, I'm fed up of seeing all those black and Asian people. And she should have just said, yeah, hands up. Now, she has subsequently apologized. She's a bit dense, I think, personally. And as for white heterosexual people, they do represent us. You want to try and be a white heterosexual man. We're treated as if we're complete and utter morons on every advert and on every program. Martin Hyman, the government are deliberately dividing the country. Now, do you know what, pal? I think you've just made a brilliant point. It does feel like that. Is this part of Labour's plan? Get us all fighting each other? I don't know. It just seems incredible that they're going on with this. It's divide and rule, isn't it? It's divide and rule. Two-tier justice, the whole thing is just a joke. Oh, I'm finding this hard to do and getting a bit short of breath now. Have you had this book? Seems like everyone I speak to is at it. It's just abysmal. All in your throat and in your head. I was going to try and do one yesterday, but I just couldn't concentrate. I'm finding it hard now. But thank you for your comments. David Temple, 6147 on YouTube. Thank you, my friend. He's just donated a £5. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much indeed. Every penny helps to keep this going. And I tell you, we need independent broadcasting at the moment like nothing else on earth. I missed the football yesterday. I had to watch it from home. Still enjoyed it. But how brilliant to Coventry. I was asking my mate, what odds would I get to put a bet on? Anybody know about this? To say that Coventry will go the whole season undefeated in the EFL. You'd get massive odds, wouldn't you? What do you reckon? Anybody know? Let me know. Right, let's move on. That's Denise Deacon. I've done you. Sorry, you can tell I'm not on the ball, isn't it? Because I can't do it all technically. Richard Pope, they didn't even find him, John. It was a tip-off from a member of the public. Yeah, I agree with that, Richard. Although that's what I read. It's an absolute farce. What happened anyway? And I bet he won't get deported. Well, I would imagine what will happen now is either Starmer will get him deported by tomorrow, which I doubt because there'll be appeals, or he'll let it try and just disappear. You know, like the football match with Tel Aviv? Have you noticed that's just faded away? There's this thing in news that if you can survive the first 3 days of any political scandal, you're probably going to be safe. That's what Starmer's relying on all the time. But how many more scandals or cock-ups does he need? I love the way now everybody's using my term, always got the Midas touch in reverse. I said that first. Everyone's now copying it, and he has. Denise Deacon's got a good line. It's funny how nobody put in prison for tweets has ever been accidentally released from prison. Exactly. What a very good point. Thank you very much indeed. Here we go. Robert Gunter, 7230. John, it all makes sense when you realise we're being controlled by Satan followers and God doesn't come into their equation. I thought I was the one who was meant to be poorly. Anyway, sorry, mate, but I can't take any of that bullshit today. Jackie Ward, good to have you back, John. Sort of. How much longer do we have to put up with this pathetic stance from the government? They're so woke. If you suggest sending illegals to a detention centre, that's right, actually, we should send liberals, then you're labelled racist. It's pathetic. And we're the laughing stock of the world. You're absolutely right, Jackie. Thank you. Maggie Young, play up Sky Blues. I'm really scared for our country. The government is not protecting their citizens. They just care about their votes. We're done when our British women and girls are scared to walk on their own on the streets. You are right, Maggie. It's just unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, don't get me wrong. The streets weren't safe before the dinghy boys turned up, but they're certainly not safe now, are they? Or they're no safer. The thing that sticks in my gullet about all of this, Maggie, is the fact that if I got Starmer here now and I said, can you tell me who's in that dinghy? You or all of your Home Office team, he'd say no. Well, he wouldn't. He'd lie, wouldn't he? But he wouldn't be able to because they're all undocumented. But we're letting them into our country. We should not let them put their flip-flops on the ground. Deport them immediately. You'd only have to do it for a week and it'd all be over. You just need the political will. I've got to ask you seriously. How many more British girls of any colour have to be raped, mutilated, stabbed in the head with a screwdriver, murdered brutally before Keir Starmer does his first duty as a Prime Minister, which is the protection of his citizens? How does he sleep at night? How? He hasn't even tried. One in, one out. Oh, that was this week as well. We've had the one in, one out, and another one that came back. Oh, but don't worry, they're going to deport him now. And we've sent a clear message. He's wasted about £2,000 of his own money trying to get here. What planet are they on? It's like those videos that Starmer keeps putting out saying, we've made house purchasing easier. Oh, the best one is the one to con you into getting the digital ID card. You know, I'll paraphrase what he said, but it's along the lines of, do you get fed up when you've got to search for that electricity bill just so you can get a tenancy agreement or buy a house? It's a minor irritation on the scale of everything that winds me up in this fucking country, Keir. But no, Keir says that's a clear reason why you need digital ID. And then he goes, oh, and of course it's completely optional. But if you don't have it, you'll be charged 80 times. We need 80 quid every time we want to check on you. He must think we're thick. He must think we're dense. But you see, it's not just Starmer. I saw that Chris Phipps on telly today. Or Phipp or whatever his name is. He was in charge when the Labour were in. They were useless. And Wes Streeting this morning lost the rag. Yes, it is racist. It's racist. Can't you show a bit of passion like that, Wes? About the fact that your lousy government hasn't got anyone to chair this inquiry. And you had to be dragged to hold a public inquiry in the first place. That's what disgusts me. Winston Johnson 7947 on YouTube. John, within within 100% of mixed race. I don't know what that means. Thank you very much. On TV. Where are we going next? Oi, Gaunty, I think I agree with everything you've said today. Sorry, it's only a small donation. Get well soon. It's a brilliant donation. Everything helps. Thank you very much indeed, Joanne, for your donation. Denise, when Starmer does come out from under his rock, the way he speaks, you'd think everything was absolutely fine. Yeah. He thinks the biggest worry in this country is the rise of right and racism. Yeah, but he only means racism by white people, which, by the way, I condemn completely. But was it not racism yesterday? British, Muslim men massed up, marching like a military, like the militia on the streets of East London. They may well be under threat from certain nutcases. Deal with it, please, the police. We don't want this, though, do we? Got a view? Let's hear from you. Hi, John. Can we really rely on judges? Aren't they left-wing liberals in Labour's pocket? Some people would say that, my friend, but who else do you rely on? They're meant to be the independent judiciary. That's the problem we've got here. And also, while we're pontificating about this, more and more girls are still being attacked. We need to get on with it, and we need to listen to the survivors. That's why Jess Phillips has to go. But they're even dragging their feet over that. Ridiculous. Thank you, by the way, for everyone who's donating. That's very kind of you. Cliff Dixon, if the inquiry has to be judge-led, as you say, John, then I'd prefer a judge from another Western country who can look at it with a clean slate and isn't infected with the left-wing virus that infests our current judicial system. Lots of people suggesting that, Cliff, and I'm not against it. Not against it at all. So thank you for your comments. Maybe Australia or somewhere, New Zealand. Denise Deacon just sent a fiver, $4.99, as a super sticker. Thank you very much indeed for that. And Barry Torrance says, civil uprising is a certainty. Thanks, Starmer. Well, I hope not, because that's the last thing we need in this country. But I do think the country is like a tinderbox at the moment. And I just do not understand why Starmer doesn't want to sort it out. Do you? Why wouldn't you want to sort this out? And why isn't he addressing the nation? He again put Lammy up as the sacrificial lamb the other night. And what did Lammy say about this guy absconding from prison, or actually being let out, as it comes out now? He said, I'm livid. You're livid? Is that the best you can do, Mr. Lammy? You went to Cambridge. And now they're saying, don't worry, we're going to have an inquiry. Will that be an inquiry like you're going to have into the grooming gangs, which we still haven't got, and then you weren't going to have one, then you were because we forced you to it? Is it more important to always get on telly and accuse all and sundry of being a waifif than actually dealing with some of the real rapists, the real threats within our community? Just, honestly, I'm going to take back to my sick bed. It's probably easier just to go to sleep, have a load of paracetamols and not think about it for a while. I don't mean top myself. I mean, you're getting no thanks, are you, for getting wound up? And it's as if you can hardly say anything. I sense it today, even with this, that some people are holding back saying what they really want to say. Because Starmer's stormtroopers have suppressed free speech dreadfully. You can see it on the telly. I mean, today on that Laura Kunsberg show, they had some American guy I've never heard of. They had, what's her name? Kay Burley. I thought she'd retired from Sky. Who cares what she thinks on the panel? And there was another one as well. And it was just like, and then they had half an hour or 25 minutes having a chat with Kamala Harris, the laughing hyena who got slaughtered by Donald Trump in the election. But she was on because she's got a book to push. And it was a pre-recorded interview. And it was like, hold on a minute. Ain't there any breaking news that maybe, Laura, you need to talk about a bit more? There was no mention of the horrific murder in Warsaw. Oh, they had to break in just before they went to the Kamala interview by saying, "Oh, they found the man who's absconded, who hadn't absconded. People had just let him out accidentally." Britain's most notorious. He must have been last week. That guy, Britain's most notorious, and the week before, prisoner, mustn't he? The prison governor must have known who he was. So you'd have thought he'd have said, "Look, whoever's on the gate, whatever you do, don't cock this one up. I don't want Lammy on my back." Yeah. It just doesn't add up, does it? And like when they're saying, "Right, what's your name?" I mean, I've seen the Blues Brothers. You know when they, what a great film. You know when they lean forward and then they have to get all their possessions back and give them over when they go into prison. Yeah. Would they not have said name? And then they go through that brilliant bit where he goes through the list and there's a condom, isn't it? He goes, collect, whatever the word is. Anyway, condom. And he goes, used, right? Great scene. Don't they do that in prison? I thought that's what happened when you came out, because then they give you a bag with all your stuff in it, because they can't trust the screws not to have nicked anything. No? Maybe I'm being naive. So at no point during that process did nobody say, "Hold on a minute, aren't you the geezer who sexually assaulted a 14-year-old girl and kicked off nationwide riots about migrant hotels?" Or what about when they said, "Wait, go and get what's his name? You know, the one who set off the riots all over the country. Get him to come down. We're going to release him today." Didn't anyone say, "Oh, hold on a minute. Are you sure he's meant to be getting released?" See what I'm saying? It doesn't add up. So when people today have started saying, "Well, maybe they let him out deliberately," makes you wonder. It does make you wonder. I'm sure that's not the case. Or is it not a conspiracy? It's just complete and utter cock-up. They're just a complete, incompetent bunch of twats. Is that what it is? And I do want to keep stressing, it's not just them, is it? It's the Tories as well. And then what really annoys me, Christopher Hope, that's his name. And I think he's brilliant, right? He's the guy, the political editor on GB News. And he writes for the Telegraph. But he fell into that trap today with that Zia Yousaf. He started saying, "Oh, well, it won't be as easy as you say, will it, just to change the law?" Go and tell that to Donald Trump. Go and tell that to Australia. Go and tell that to Germany now, Poland, Austria. It is as simple as that. So I'm telling you now what the final solution, careful, the final solution to all this is this. We have to control our borders. Leave the ECHR. We need to look after our citizens first, no matter what colour, no matter what creed, no matter what religion. They come first. Britain is broke. Britain is broken, and it will get worse unless somebody gets a bloody grip. And I suggest the easiest way of doing that is that anybody else who arrives in our country, we deport them. Deport them. Immediately. Send them back to France. Send them back to wherever they come from. I want no more bleeding heart panorama programs telling us, "Oh, this guy had a tragic, terrible way to get here. He was fleeing persecution." I'm sure some are. But you lovey-dovey BBC producers, why don't you go find some who are just coming to improve themselves? Again, I don't blame them. This is a great country, but we can't have everybody in it. We just can't. We can't afford it. Starmer, put your people first. Joanna Kempton, 6691. I'm stopping in a minute. So if you're thinking of commenting or donating, can you do it now, please? This treacherous government is spending £10 million to protect Muslim people and only £5 million into the rape gang's inquiry. It makes my blood boil with rage and fury. I'm not sure about your figures there, Joanne, but I understand your point. I would imagine they would argue they've put a lot more money than that into the inquiry. I don't know. I'll check it for you. And when we do a show tomorrow night at 6:30, I'll let you know which way around it was. I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just saying I'll check that. Right, I'm ever so sorry. I'm going to have to stop now. You had 45 minutes of me. My throat is killing me. I thought I was better. That's a weird thing. Has anybody else had this? Because it seems to get 2 days ago, I got up and thought, oh, it's gone. I nipped round Tesco's for Lisa, and by the time I got back in the car, I was knackered. Completely knackered. Last night, I had myself a nice steak meal. I thought that'll do me good. Nice steak. Get the old vitamins down and the iron. Had about 3 mouthfuls and couldn't eat anymore. No appetite. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Oh, there's Maggie Young. Thank you, Maggie. Play up Sky Blue. She says, get well soon. Give me some claps and a sky blue heart. And there's Jackie Ward with 3 red hearts as well. That's very kind of you both. Sky Blues. I noticed no one's really taking me up on that one. I keep saying how marvellous they are. I had to have a go at a woman yesterday. She was making out that we hadn't played very well. We won 3-1. And then she was going on about what a great Coventry fan she was. But then I looked at her bio and it said Midlands girl. Well, anybody from Coventry would call themselves a Coventry girl. They wouldn't. So I knew she wasn't. Anyway, turns out she's from Nuneaton. And then I got into a spat, which I shouldn't have done, but I was a bit high on the paracetamol, I think. Okay, that's me done then. You're obviously done as well. Sorry to disturb you Sunday. Thank you to everybody who has donated. If you do feel you'd like to donate now, you still can. I found out as well with YouTube, you can give donations on the YouTube channel anytime you fancy. I thought it was only when I was live. So feel free to do that. Or buymeacoffee.com, www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt. That would be great. I will be back tomorrow, Monday, at 6:30. Hope you can join me then. But also, can you keep spreading the word for people to subscribe to the channel? That'd be really good. And just get me back going, essentially is what I'm saying. Because everything's died off. It's weird, isn't it? You're not here for a week and it's like suddenly you've been forgotten. Get well. What's this say? Get well soon, John. I bet Clive Eakin wish he stayed on. Play up Sky Blues. Yeah, for people who don't know, Clive used to do the commentary of Coventry City for the BBC and he left. He retired this season. Yeah, I bet he's spitting feathers. Although don't forget, Rob Gurney was the original commentator. Well, Stuart and L before him. Anyway, I'm going off on one now. Forget it. I'll speak to you tomorrow. Thanks a lot for putting up with my gravelly voice today. If you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey, hey, hey. Don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya.